Our top story, by-elections in Chennai's RK Nagar constituency to be held on Wednesday have been cancelled by the Election Commission. 74 people have been arrested after evidence emerged of rampant corruption and bribery. The decision came after income tax raids in Chennai found money was distributed to voters. The income tax officials have alleged that the VK Sasikala faction of the party paid 89 crore rupees. Think about that, 89 crore rupees to voters to buy support for its candidate, that's TTV Dinakaran, who is also her nephew. This money was given to voters from everything. We're talking about newspaper subscriptions to milk tokens to direct transfers in accounts and mobile wallets. The by-election in RK Nagar, remember, it became necessary after the death of the former Chief Minister J Jayalalithaa, who represented it for 2 terms.
It is a wrong decision by the Election Commission. Actually, they would have conducted the election, because what are all the reasons they are quoting the order is totally, what can I say? No, there is no reason with them, so they are giving some other reasons. They wanted to stop it. I don't know the reason behind it. Maybe even the Election Commission doesn't want me to win, so they are trying to postpone it. Only they can postpone it. They can only delay. They cannot deny. We are going to win.
All right, and of course, the reactions are coming in. Early this morning, we have a reaction coming in from Mr. Chidambaram. He has tweeted saying, this is the former finance minister, we were told demonetization has put an end to black money. Was money distributed in RK Nagar white money? That's a question being raised by the former finance minister. Let's go across to A. Vaidyanathan, our correspondent who actually broke this story yesterday. Vaidya, you have the details. Corruption and bribery seems completely inherent here, but the ways in which, how does one distribute 89 crores to the constituents here in RK Nagar?
Sarah, it's a very sad state of affairs. Tamil Nadu has a dubious distinction of polls being countermanded or cancelled only because of bribery. The first one was last year, 2 constituencies, Tanjavur and Aravakuruchi, cancelled because of bribery votes. Now, this issue, but interestingly, this issue, the IT report, which so far we used to say according to sources, but this IT report has been made black and white in the complete 29-page order of the Election Commission. This may spell trouble for the Tamil Nadu government ministers and even the Chief Minister. It clearly says 89 crores are distributed. As if you read the order, it clearly says how in the morning someone comes and distributes the morning paper vendor, he gives money. And the milk vendor also, he gives money. Secondly, your phones are being topped up by the party functionaries, Sasikala group. So this is a very novel. That's why the Election Commission says every time we we employ more persons, but every time the political parties come with innovative methods. So that's why the Election Commission normally in an assembly constituency, some 3 or 4 flying squads will be there. Here, 61 flying squads, 61. Even then they couldn't stop. But that's called democracy. But anyway, this is very interesting, and we'll have to wait and see when the elections are held again. But it's very, very sad state of affairs, Sarah.
And Vaidya, according to the documents recovered that are in the hands of the EC, even senior leaders are involved in this. It seems the Chief Minister was also tasked with distributing crores?
Exactly. In fact, the Income Tax Department submitted a chart to the Election Commission, which basically says how much money was distributed to each ward, which ministers are responsible for that. So all these details are black and white, and the report also quoting IT report says that 5 crores was seized from the associates of Union, so that Tamil Nadu Health Minister Vijaya Bhaskar and also the Vice Chancellor. So it's very, very, this IT report is very important. It may actually in future probably the Tamil Nadu government may be in trouble also.
All right, Tamil Nadu government could be in trouble also. Thanks, Sam. Thanks, Vaidya. Let's also go across to Sam Daniel, who's following this story. Sam, the stakes for the by-polls were very high. Now, the results, of course, would have been a verdict of sorts in the war between the 2 rival factions of the ruling AIADMK. That's why so much was at stake in this election. But what happens now? When will this election take place? And how do we ensure that the voters go to the polls with a clean slate without keeping in mind any of this that's happened over the last few weeks?
Well, Sarah, that's the big question. Yes, this particular by-election, which was which is being conducted because of the death of Jayalalithaa, was all about Jayalalitha's legacy, especially for the three factions in the AIADMK led by Sasikala, O. Pannirselvam, and Jayalalitha's niece Deepa. A victory would have paved way for Dinakar and Sasikala's nephew, who's the candidate here to become the Chief Minister. Also inheriting Jayalalitha's legacy, a victory by the OPS camp, the rebel camp, would have made it clear that they inherit Jayalalitha's legacy, and that could have paved way for possibly many MLAs from the Sasikala camp to switch to his side and possibly a change of government. And the DMK, the opposition, also made this a kind of a referendum of sorts after over the present government after Jayalalitha's death, and a victory by the DMK would have possibly again split the AIADMK, paving way for even the DMK to try and form the next government. So much in stake for all the three stakeholders, including the opposition, the DMK. But the big question, will the cancellation pave way for any cleaning up the system? Many would say no, because earlier we had two constituencies, the Karur and the Aravakurchi constituency in Karur district and Thanjavur constituencies were cancelled, postponed, elections were held later. But the same candidates who faced allegations of large-scale bribing of voters, they managed to win. So that's a big question many are asking. They welcome the Election Commission's decision to track corruption, cash for votes and cancelling polls, but they're also asking, why can't there be a tougher system, tougher enforcement be put in place so that corruption becomes difficult to take place and conviction becomes possible, so that these candidates cannot contest again. But in the past, not a single person in Tamil Nadu, although there have been many hundreds of allegations of bribing of voters, nobody has been convicted. So that's the big question, that the Election Commission has really tightened its system to the extent that bribing of voters become impossible and there's more conviction taking place to make sure candidates who face allegations of bribing voters will not be able to contest them. As of now, we don't know when the by-election could take place. Normally a few months away, but the big question, will it actually prevent corrupt candidates from winning the election?